my name is Anna and I'm a graduate scientist from the University of Cambridge and now an educational consultant. And in this channel, I share tips on education, personal development, and the best stationery to use in your studies. And without further ado, let's get into this video where we discuss how to choose the correct subject for you at the university. So let's get into it. Studying at university is one of the most significant stages of your education. It takes at least 3 years to complete your degree, and it provides you with so many invaluable transferable skills and personal development. However, students quite often struggle to choose a subject or even which university to pick. So in this video, I wanted to share some of my tips that helped me to choose my university and how I decided what subjects to go for. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So my tip number 1, start with the location. As counterintuitive as it might sound, I would highly recommend to choose a location first. There are 143 universities in the UK, and let's say you want to study biology or law, well, there is no way you're going to look at all of the universities. It's just too many. So I would really highly recommend basically focusing on certain areas of the country that you really like, and then deciding on what universities are in that area. So I wanted to study at Cambridge or London. So for me, the choice was kind of easy because I went for Cambridge, then I went for Imperial, UCL and King's, and I can't remember my 5th choice. But that really simplified it because I wasn't really looking to be outside of London or Cambridge. So if you kind of decide where you want to study, there'll be several universities in a certain area. For you, it might be London, it might be south of England, or even might be north of England. But you need to decide what is important for you. So for example, the questions to ask: do you want to study in the city or a smaller town? Or do you want the campus to be maybe just outside of the city where you are living somewhere in the nature? Okay, maybe you need to consider how close you're going to be to your family and whether that's also important to you. And if you are out of the city or a town centre, do you have good transport links to get you into town? So many factors to consider, but choose what is important for you and then decide on the location for the university. Because at the same time, yes, university is very important and it's the place where you're going to be studying for quite a few years. But if you don't enjoy the surrounding area around the university, then where are you going to spend your time when you're not studying? So those factors are quite important to consider. This brings us to my tip number 2. Follow your academic passions and interests. Quite often students struggle with the choice of a subject at university. And you obviously want to choose it well because you're going to be studying this subject for at least 3 years. So one of the first 2 questions that you really need to ask yourself is, what is your favorite subject at school? Or what areas do you really enjoy in each of your subjects that you are currently studying? So as soon as you answer these questions, then you can decide on what you want to study. I wouldn't worry too much about your career at this stage. The university education is all about transferable skills and personal development, as I mentioned earlier. So even if you end up doing biology, that doesn't mean that you have to be a scientist. You could also go into management consulting, you can go in investment banking, you could become a lawyer, and you can do so many more things. For example, now after studying natural sciences at Cambridge and then doing my PhD in molecular biology, I actually ended up being an educational consultant, so helping students in their educational journey, and that's my passion. So it doesn't really matter so much what you study at university as long as you enjoy the subject, because if you do enjoy your subject, then you will do really well at it. My tip number 3, consider mix and matching your courses. So you have so many different courses that combine different subjects. So for example, you can study law and economics, or law and psychology, or you could study biology with French or management. There are quite a few of those courses around if you do your proper search around the universities, and I would highly recommend looking at them, because if you are struggling to specialize at this stage, it's always good to look around and find different courses. And maybe this is how you combine a passion for your 2 favorite subjects. In my opinion, these courses are less well known, so you might have less competition for them as well. So I would highly recommend checking those out. My tip number 4, don't specialize too early. So there are certain degrees at university that make you specialize straight away into your studies. So, for example, if we take medicine, obviously you have to do medicine for the rest of your course. if you do biochemistry, then you are stuck with biochemistry for the rest of your course. But in comparison, if you were to do natural sciences, you actually have quite a lot of modules to pick and choose from. So you explore your subject and you specialize in it as you go along. So usually by your third year, you really know what you like and you get to specialize in your favorite subject of the course. So when I was at school, I really wanted to study biochemistry at university, not really realizing what the subject entailed. So when I did it in my second year at uni, I actually absolutely hated it. And this is when I realized I actually don't love biochemistry, but I love cell and developmental biology, which is slightly different in a biology world. Imagine if I went for a degree that was a pure biochemistry and I didn't have a chance to specialize and pick and mix my subjects. So it's quite important to do the course that gives you this variety of modules so you can pick and choose as you go along, and then you will specialize by the end of the third year. Tip number 5, ask why. So quite often students fall for prestigiousness of career rather than following their passion for the subject. I would recommend doing following exercise. So take a pen and paper, A4 size, and write this question on the top of the page. Why do I want to study X subject at uni? And try to fill a whole page with why. So what truly motivates you? What truly inspires you to go and study at university? And where do you see yourself in 5 years with this degree? If you're really struggling to write half a page of why you want to study this particular subject at university, then you should really rethink your strategy, and maybe this subject is not right for you. And it's okay, and you can do more research and explore what you truly want to study. Number 6, don't listen to all of the advice. It's important to realize that there'll always be people who didn't like their university and didn't like their course. So it's important to listen to them. It's important to understand their reasoning behind that. But remember, if one person didn't like their university, it doesn't mean that it's a bad university. I would highly recommend you do your own research. You go to university open days, you read the reviews and you read the blogs, and you make your own educated decision on what suits you best at university. And this brings us to my final tip, number 7, get expert advice. It's absolutely okay to be confused at this stage and really trying to work out which career and which education you want to pursue in the future. So if you're really struggling, then get professional help. So for example, I help many students choose their university and help them with their decision on the course as well. So it's quite important to have someone help you who really understands the system and went through it quite recently as well, so they can really help you make your best decision. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please press the thumbs up and really enjoy choosing your course at university. It is truly a very exciting time, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.